Okay, ready? Okay, so we finished.
Change it to the computer screen.
The what?
Change, go back to Hangout. See? Nobody wanna see it. Run it free. You wanna see it too? On YouTube?
I hope last time I didn't do it either.
Yeah, I think so.
The whole time last time was on my face.
No, oh, okay. He's famous.
Okay, so you ready?
Okay, we gotta do it.
Okay, so we discussed object yesterday, and we discussed the idea of making a abstract class, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, so look over here. So you see over here, we have an array list of objects,
Yeah.
right? And we put inside of it a dog. We add a dog to the list, right?
Okay.
Okay, but notice now, so in this list of objects, you have a dog, right?
Object, dog array, not dog array. We already subject, so
Right, we're adding a dog to this array list. But this array list holds objects, right? So we're allowed to put it in there because every single class inherits an object, essentially, by the end of the day.
okay.
Right, so this is fine.
Yeah.
However, this you cannot do. Why not? Why can't you do this?
Hold on a second. Well, you can send dog reference. I'm going to tell you what I said. Dog, you can because my error is that because it's an object. The object is the error list, not the dog. Because when you put dog D, my dog error list does get.
So you basically got the answer. The point is when you have the way you have to look at an object is that it's inside. It's almost like inside the core. So say you have a snowboard object, right? It has shred method, it has a turn method, it has a lose control method, a get ear method. Inside that you have the object, which has the toString, the hash code, the class equals, right? Visualize it like that. When you put it into an object array, the only thing it knows about is about this part.
The object array.
Right. So in other words, this object is a dog, but from this perspective of object, it doesn't know that. All it knows is that it's an object.
So you can start with the dog, no?
So you can't pull a dog out. If you want to get a dog, you have to cast it to be a dog. We'll see how to do that soon.
Okay, so you can do like my array get get 0.
Even though this is a dog, because you just added it, so this must be a dog. But it doesn't know that, because when you put it in there, you're just saying, here's an object. It doesn't know what you're putting in there, right? So it cannot. The compiler.
Why does it know?
Because I can add 1,000 things in there. I can add an elephant in there. I can add a house. I can add a thing. So from its perspective, it doesn't know when it's spitting out something what it is. It's just a list. It's just a box. Imagine a box full of toys, and you pull it out. The box is not smart enough to tell you what toy you're pulling out. It's just a box.
So basically, we tell them there, like, I want you full dog, but it doesn't know what it means.
Right. It just pulls. It just knows it has an object and just take it out. So when you take it out, this won't be allowed. You can take it out as an object and then cast it to a dog.
Okay.
Okay. For example, let's go like this. Imagine we have looking at this example. Okay. So let's make this a little smaller so we can see that. So say this was our code over here. We did this.
Yes.
We made a dog and added a dog to the list. And now we want to take the dog out later on in the code, right? We could go like this. Imagine like dog.
Object dog.
Dog D
Yeah.
equals my dog. Okay, so far it's the same, right? Looks the same, nothing different.
Yeah.
All you have to do, remember how to cast? By
Yeah.
cast, all you gotta do is like this. That's it.
Then it's gonna get you the dog.
It'll take this out, cast it to a dog. We know it's a dog, so it's going to cast it to a dog. Remember,
It's
this
gonna
will,
show you the object.
so it'll give you the object and let you use it as a dog.
Okay.
If I go like this, imagine if I don't do this, and all I do is go like this, right? I go like this, and I go object D equals this.
No.
So this will work.
Yeah, because it's on the object, but you
Right.
don't know what is that object.
Right. So I can't go like D bark. I can't do that, right? Because the compiler says, how do you know that's a dog? Maybe you're trying to bark an elephant. It won't work.
What do you mean bark? But
See,
it's gonna work.
It won't work. Because
Why?
the compiler won't let you. It's too dangerous. The compiler will say, I'm not letting you put that in your code. Because what if an elephant comes out? You can try to bark at an elephant. That's going to crash.
But it's not going through the code and see if they have
It doesn't.
bark.
It's not that smart, the compiler.
Right.
Because remember, the compiler has to be careful. Maybe every time you open the database, it could be a different thing.
So you can run nothing when when the object is working. Like
Right. If you want to be, you have to cast it back. So
you didn't make me 1 second, but when the object,
if you know it's a dog, you can go like this and go, D equals, dog, whatever, like, dog.
yeah, like the other one.
Yeah. You just cast it.
Yeah, but when you type this at bark,
It won't work then. The compiler,
how you know that it's not gonna? How you know why? Like does you know that because it's an object it's not running, or you just
the compiler will,
because if they
just
at bark,
like
it's
you remember, we cannot put an int inside a car, even though it's smaller,
okay.
right? But what happens if there's only letter 1 in there?
No, I got that.
Same thing over
yeah,
here.
but
The compiler
tell
doesn't know
them-
for sure. It's just not gonna let you. Imagine over here we had an array list and we're pulling from the database all these different objects into the array list.
Yeah.
How is a compiler? It's impossible for the compiler to know what you're going to put inside that array list. So it cannot let you take something out of it and bark with it. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, I understand that.
If you want it,
like how you know that when I do that part, how you know that it's not to run it, not to compile it.
how to know? Because look, when I created over here, I wrote object.
Yes.
So it knows that when you take something out of it, it must be an object. And an object doesn't have bark as a method.
Oh, see, now I got it.
When I create a list of objects, the compiler knows everything that's going in it, no matter what it is. All this is going to know about is about the inner core, the object part of it,
Yes.
not the outer core. And therefore, if I take something out of it,
So if you're gonna put two string, it's gonna compile.
right.
So not bug because it's not in the support. Yeah, I
Right.
got it.
But I could cast it and say, this is really a dog. I know for sure it's a dog. Let me use it as a dog.
And then you can.
Perfect. You got that? So that is one issue of polymorphism. It's very powerful, and we'll see how powerful it is. But you have to understand that if you have like an array list that's only the top part of the subclass, you cannot use any methods that are declared later on.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? Same way. Let's look over here for a second. The same way we had over here. Remember the test boats. So, we make a array list of boats,
Yes.
right? The same over here, we do dot move, and we cannot, do this one, or we can't row the boat, even if it happens to be the rowboat, because only thing it knows about is what all of them have, and they only have what's in the boat. We cannot know if it's a rowboat and then do rowboat.
So if you gotta put forward, it's not gonna
It
compile.
won't compile. It'll say, listen, that rowboat method exists at a lower level. It doesn't exist at the boat level.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it into a boat array.
Okay, I got you.
Okay?
So it's going to the first one. The first one, and if it exists in everyone, it's one.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one important lesson from from the idea of a superclass. Is that, let's use object. I remember object is a superclass of everything. So imagine over here we have a snowboard. It has its own methods, and these methods it got from the object. The equals you get class hash go to string, right?
Yes.
So on a heap, there is only one object on the heap, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to think of it as layers. This is the snowboard layer. This is the object layer.
Yeah.
So if you're putting it into an object array, the object array only knows about this part.
Okay.
Okay? Watch this. If I want to, I can even go like this. I can go like this. This is actually legal code. I can go object d equals new dog. I could do that. That's legal. The problem is that I cannot then go the dot bark. I can't do that.
Why?
Because this
It's an object.
right. So the object only knows about the object parts. Whatever's in the remote control, you only get the buttons. What's on that remote control?
So you need to have the remote control and the object gonna be the same type.
Right. But this will work. But if I want to bark with it, I'm gonna have to then cast it to a dog. I have to go dog.
So it's not gonna know what's
Well, I can go like this. I can go D to string.
the string was an object.
Right.
Yeah.
But it really is a dog. But this remote control only knows about the object parts of the dog.
Okay.
It doesn't know about the full part of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? So if a reference like a remote control, the remote control takes...
Go up one second. Or more. Go more. What about the object or object?
This is the same thing we just did. Remember this?
Okay.
This is the idea that if you have an object that's a dog, you can't call
Okay.
bark at it. Okay? So the way to think of a remote control, remember we used to have a remote control that points to an object on the heap?
Yeah.
So now the real way to look at it is a remote control gets more buttons the more subclasses you have.
Oh, okay.
So imagine over here, if we do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The object is remote control pointing to a dog. The dog stays in the heap the same dog, but we only get the buttons that apply to the object part.
Yeah.
If we do dog, if we do like this,
Object D cast.
right, dog, dog equals cast. Oops, not
What
cast.
are you doing right now? The typing is iterate everything together.
What?
Like iterated. What are you doing right now? Iterate. Know what is iterate? Never mind.
Tell me, do
So I don't know how to say it in English.
you see over here? If I now cast this to a dog,
Okay.
if I cast this to a dog,
Okay.
then I get more buttons, and I can go, dog.bark.
Now the dog you have in that remote control.
Right. So even
Button
though,
for the dog, button for the
Right.
object, so you can vote. You can
Right.
type whatever you want.
you see how cool it is? This,
You connect to each other.
right, this remote control and this remote control point to the same dog in the heap. But this remote control only has 4 buttons, and this remote control has 10 buttons.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the power. Java was very smart how it did that.
Yep.
Very smart. So
try and answer.
So this is cool because if you want to have a whole list and treat a bunch of objects the same. Okay, here's all the objects, but all you guys have 4 buttons.
Yeah.
If you want to have more details, okay, you get more buttons, but the list you put it in can only be with dogs.
Second, it's different like remote control.
Okay, so yeah, so-
Second, the remote control takes more buttons. Like casting object tag. Okay.
Okay, so this is the way you should really do it if
Right.
you want to cast something.
This is how we should do it.
Yes. So if you say somehow in your code you're having something, the whole list is something,
Dog,
that's what you do.
dog, dog, so, what is the object?
Huh?
What is the object type?
Just say you took out of the array list, you took something out. You want to know what to do with it. You can do this.
So what do you do right now with the cast system? Add something to the
I just did it, but I didn't check. So what this one does is that at runtime, if it's not a dog, it won't do this. The other one, if it happens to be
it's a dog.
right, and then cast it.
You check what is it. Yeah.
Instance of means is this a dog?
Yeah.
So in other words, if at runtime it's running through this and O happens to be elephant, it won't even do this. You won't have an error. Otherwise, you can have at runtime you'll have a runtime error and you'll blow up.
Second, just in an object. one second. I'm just casting an object reference back to its real type. What does it mean?
Okay.
What does it mean casting? I didn't. Can you explain the word? What is it? Casting an object reference.
You trying looking at this?
No, what you wrote there. Casting an object reference back.
Where are you looking at? Over here, this?
Yeah. Yeah, the last one.
Which one? This over here.
Yeah.
So casting an object reference. Remember, the reference is the remote control.
Yeah.
Back to its real type. So say you have a object reference. It just looks like it's pointing to superclass. You want to bring it back down to what it really is. To get the full buttons you can have. Use this. It'll check. Okay.
Yes.
So this is just an easy way to check to make sure that you are.
What type of object?
Yeah. So if you have a whole list of objects and you want to bark if it's a dog, go ahead and do this. Okay. Okay. We have finished the first major part of chapter 8. Now we're going into interfaces. Okay. Interfaces are really very simple. So because you really know about it.
Everything is simple in life, but it's hard.
Okay, so let's go to this. I don't have the book in front of me, but the book has an amazing example. Look at pages 219 to 223.
Now?
Later on today. Make sure you go over that. I put that in here because that is so important. Pages 219 to 223 explain why interfaces are so important. Okay, and I'll give you the basic idea. Very simple.
Interface? What interface is?
Interface. We're going to learn about interfacing now. What an interface is. Okay, I'm going to go back for a second so I can explain it to you really quickly without having the book in front of me.
You want my book?
No, that's fine.
Django.
Django.
Django project.
Django.
Well, it's like a secret project. CIA project.
Django is a
movie. Django.
yeah, but over here Django is a Python. It's a Python thing for web development. Where is this? Must be chapter 7. Okay, so there's this example over here, right?
Yeah.
So go through the book. Go through those pages. Go through pages 219 to 223 because they're moved to important. But I'm just gonna go through briefly.
219 and 223. Till 223.
Yeah, I mean go through the whole chapter, but those pages especially get well because basically here's the issue. You have a nice hierarchy over here for the animal class. Animal, feline, canine. Under that we have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if now we have a pet store that wants to use our code?
Yes.
How are we gonna make only the dog into a pet and get all the pet methods like be friendly and playful, right? I can't put it in here because I don't want to have all these to have it.
We need to put it inside and connect to the document.
Right, but you cannot inherit from two parents, and the book explains why. It's called the
Inherit? Why you can't inherit?
inherit
Inherit.
from two parents. It's impossible,
Inherit.
right? And the reason is, I'm not going to go into detail. The book will explain the reasons why you cannot.
Yeah.
But it leads to crazy chaos. Because imagine this. Imagine I have another parent called Pet, and it also has an eat method, and it contradicts with this one.
Yes.
Right? And they use instance variables that contradict with this one. It'll be chaos. How does the dog know which one to do? So it's called the deadly diamond of death. You have a diamond where you have, but look at the book. You'll see a clear example of why. End of story. Java does not let you inherit from more than one parent.
Okay.
You only have one superclass. K9, which has an animal.
Okay.
So an interface lets you get around that issue. How? An interface basically is a class, but has no description of what it does.
So just interface is called?
Yeah. This is interface. Look how short it is. Public interface pet has two methods: be friendly and play. And we're not going to tell you what it does. You have to decide in your code what it does.
Okay, but the public interface, what is connect inside?
What time?
The pet.
As of now, it does nothing. What's the point of a pet? You'll see soon. Right now, this is all you define. But look, say we're at the dog level now, right? So we can write over here, dog extends canine, right? Extends this one. And it implements. Implements is the word you use when you want to implement an interface. Implements pet. And over here, we make it be friendly, and over here we'll add the code of what it does.
So public interface pay, it means, okay, the
means
interface is the...
what methods you have to write. That's all it means.
And then those methods, the public abstract void field, be friendly, this is the method that you're writing.
You're going to write later on in your subclass. In your class that extends this, that it implements this.
Once again, but the public abstract void friendly.
Yeah.
Basically, you can write there instead the friendly, you can public abstract void walk.
Yeah.
But later on
over here,
the subclass, you write what you wanted to do.
Yeah. So the subclass is actually the wrong word. It's not a subclass. It's a class that implements. Remember this. I can have dog implemented, and I can have a robot from a whole section implement pet. That's the cool thing about interfaces. It's you can have a million of them. You can implement 20 interfaces.
Okay,
so what's the point? What you're saying? What's the point of it if it's not telling you to do anything, right? You have to decide anyways what it does. If over here, be friendly. I'll write over here. Go on the floor and laugh.
Yeah, but if you want, but no.
The whole advantage is polymorphism.
Yeah, so after you can run everything together.
Right. I can say, give me all pets, and loop through all pets, and make them play. And if it's it could be a robot pet, and it'll play. It could be a dog pet. It could be a mouse pet.
Okay.
That's the cool thing about interfaces. It's just there for polymorphism.
So the interface is mean.
It's the easiest thing to write. You just to say what methods you want to put in there, and then whatever class implements it has to decide how it's going to implement it.
So basically, what does the interface mean?
Interface is basically, if you want to think of it in of stuff you know already, is an abstract class with abstract methods. That's what it is. In other words, you're making a class that does nothing, and the methods do nothing, but you later on do it. The only reason why it's there is for polymorphism. So interface basically is a way of letting many different classes
To connect to each other.
right and use the same methods. Therefore, you now can use them polymorphically. That's what you use.
So it's like basically it's another class that you want.
Yeah, the word is there was a
So
class.
basically, to get to build something, you need to make a lot of classes.
Not necessarily.
What? So everything you need.
We're just learning now, all this stuff. When you use code, you don't have to do all this stuff we're learning every single day. Interfaces are very important because they help in polymorphism. Okay, but they're very simple to write. All you do is write the interface name and decide what the method's names are. Remember, be friendly over here. A pet can do one thing. I can make a water bottle be friendly if I want, and say that when water be friendly, it rolls on the floor and spills in the water.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant. The point is that anything can implement it and make these methods implemented.
Okay, public.
Okay, so if I were to go to here and make a dog implement the pet and a cat implement pet, I can now go to my code and go make an array list of pets and loop to the pets and make them all bark. Not bark, make them all play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
So basically, but you write that inside. No, but not in the dog class. You put it in the test dog. Not in the dog class. You write all those data.
Yeah, you have to.
You create the dog object.
Yeah, look right here.
Then you write.
Look, public class dog extends canine. So here's the canine, extends this. It implements pet. And over here, you write the code for what be friendly and play does.
Inside the dog class,
yeah.
The dog himself.
The class itself, the class. Then the objects all get these methods.
Yeah, it's a class. You create a class.
Here it is.
Go back. Go back to the picture. The dog. Look at the dog. You create everything inside the dog class there because this is not the.
So now I would have more. If I had a pet now and it goes there, I would have in here be friendly and play.
This is an object.
This is the class. No, it's not an object.
What?
This is all the class. This is the class. This is the
This
subclass.
is superclass. This is sub. Yeah, this is a sub.
They're all classes.
But when you create the object, you're not writing the meta that you want. Because right now the dog gonna have always the code that you wrote for the pet. Okay?
Good. It's supposed to be.
In the API, maybe. No?
Yeah, that's good.
I get that confused.
No, that's good. What's wrong? It's supposed to have the pet.
Okay.
Look, this dog class is the same
Yeah,
over
but
here.
if you implement something else, not the pet, like implement the robot,
Yeah.
you don't have it in the dog already.
Yeah, they have to add it. If later on you want to implement some new,
Yeah, this is the thing. If you get something from the API that's already an object and it's already a class, you said in the API there's a lot of classes.
right,
Okay, and say they have a dog class.
right.
So how do I know that they have this method inside them? You know what I mean?
That's,
You know-
that's a sure to me. That's a sure to me. I mean, over here, the point of interfaces. I'll give you an example. Ready? Watch this. In the API, there's an interface called savable. Right? I think it's called savable or serializable, which means that you're saying to Java, "I want this to be saved."
Yeah.
And if I press save, it should save. Well, guess what? It's just an interface. Java says you have to decide what it means to save. So I can do that save, write the object name to a file
Yeah, where you write this method.
in your class. You can write dog, my class dog. That's kind of implements pet, comma implements whatever serializable,
Oh, yeah.
and then public void save. What do you do when save happens? Write the name of the dog to a file.
I thought you doing also you need to do those stuff in the test dog drive. You know?
No.
Like when you write the test code, when you write the real code.
No.
Okay, you create a new dog object.
No, this is all for the class. It's all in the
This
class.
is going to the class and
All in the class.
okay. Oh yeah, I got you. Okay, I started.
You sure? Any questions? I don't want to move on because this is really much.
No, and
Yeah.
after that in the class in the test dog you could write it like d.play or d.defender.
Yeah, that's it. That's
okay,
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, you want you tell them how the dog reacts, and then you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Got it? So what's the point of interfaces? This is it.
Minute speed, which is important component.
That's it, man. That is the most important thing. One of the cool benefits is that many different classes from different inheritance trees can get it. So here we have like this whole hierarchy. This dog can get it. I can have another hierarchy, and it can go for the pet. In other words, an interface you can use anywhere. That's the cool thing about interfaces. Okay. Later on, I'll learn about serializable. That's the interface that Java says you should use if you want to save something. And again, all it is like, here, let's look it up online. Serializable. Copy that for a second. And let's go see what the interface is so you know how to implement it. Let's say we're over here. Okay, so here's the Java serializable interface. Let's see if it has the documentation. Okay, and if you notice here, all it does, it has three methods: write object, read object, and read out no data. If you want to use serializable in your thing, all you have to do is implement these three things. Later on, we'll learn about exceptions.
How to work with it.
Yeah, we'll learn about exceptions. Right now, if I want to have this and it's able to be saved as serializable, I just have to go in here and write public void write object and decide what write object does. You can write it to a file, or write it to a database, or write it to a. We'll see later on how to serialize something.
Basically, it's to save it.
Right, and then I can go ahead and write that save, and it'll save it. I can look through all my saved objects and.
So it's gonna copy all the code. No. It's
Yeah,
gonna
it'll save it to your database or file. You can decide how you want to do it. We'll do it later on. So the point, I just wanted to give you
Okay, basically when you do save on your computer.
yeah, but
This is your
own way. You have to say how to save it. So see, it's not as
now
simple
it's only how
because you are the
computer-
programmer. You have to decide how to do it. Okay, so over here, imagine this. This shows how you can do for multiple. So you have public class dog, extends animal, implements pet, saveable, paintable,
Okay.
etc. You can implement many interfaces. Inherit by extends, all you got is one.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay? That's it for interfaces. We're basically done now. So I just want to, this is the last final thing.
Basically, what is you connect everything to the dog, but you can have a dog to do many things.
Right. And you decide how the methods are, and then we can the cool with an interface, even though it's not a real a class, you know what I mean? But we could still, you can't like say, you can't say pet equals new interface, right? It doesn't work. However, you could loop through pets.
You can,
You could, yeah.
because it's an object.
Yes and no. In other words, you'll never have a pet object by itself. It's always a different class that's implementing pet.
So, but you can look like you can do pet d that.
You can't.
Huh?
You can't do pet d equals new pet.
So how you can go loop through all pets?
Because we have this dog implements pet, therefore it is a pet. And therefore now we have idea of a thing called
So
pets.
how you loop all pets? So what do you run? Pet.
You can make an array list of pets, and you add all these to the array list.
We're gonna learn how to do it.
You know it already. Look, imagine we have.
With implement pet. How you doing that?
Imagine we have. We just did it already. So imagine we have.
With implement, we didn't do it when they implement pet.
Let's look at this quick example of the interface.
No, what I mean is like dog, extend, animal, implement pet. So how you loop now implement like when it's rolled.
Okay, so watch this.
Pet.
Fine. Okay, so imagine over here. I'll do a quick one, just so you can see very quickly. Okay, so say we implemented the pet, right? I'm not going to write that over here. Say we did it already, right? We can now have a list.
Just write pet.
That's it.
So okay.
And that's it. So now
you can create pet.
you can't create a pet. You could create a pet, but not directly. You know what I mean? In other words, there's no such thing as a pet by itself. It's always
It's gonna be implemented.
yeah. That's the key word.
Okay. Okay, and then you write like.
Right. So I can add now a dog to this list and all this stuff, and I can loop through
So
it.
you're doing pet pet dog equal new pet.
No. So you have a dog. Say you have a dog, right?
Okay.
I can do that as well. You're right. I can make it a pet and get the pet buttons. The point is, I say I have a dog here, and dog implements pet, right?
Okay.
So I have a dog, whatever it is, on the top. I'm not going to go into it. I can now go to this pet list.
Oh, dog D that
Use
dog D equal cast dog pet.
It has a pet. A pet already has it. I can go. Imagine there's a dog on top of here.
Okay, pet is that. Okay.
Add, dog.
Okay.
It's in there. The dog is a pet. You don't have to tell it. There's no casting. It is already. It's just like a superclass. It has all those buttons already.
Oh, so you know that dog is a pet. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna add something else, you're gonna get it.
So if I
you're
add
gonna
a cat,
like a lion,
so line doesn't have it. It won't let you.
so it's not gonna run if you're gonna do add lion. It's not gonna run.
It won't even compile.
Oh, it's not gonna combine.
Yeah. So if I had a cat, see over here, I can now loop through this whole list and do, say I loop through this list, I can do pet.play, and they'll all play.
So okay.
Right? Because remember, this now has.
But for looping, you write pet.
I have to do the loop. The for pet in pet list, etc.
Okay.
Pet play.
Yeah, I got it.
Right? The point is that
You.
whatever over here, since you're doing pet, it only gets the pet buttons.
Yeah, but this is the thing. What
So
I'm
only
trying
these two
to
buttons.
understand, like, even the pet is not the object, but you treat it like kind of like an object. You know what I mean?
Because remember, what we're really saying over here is use the remote control buttons.
Yeah, but
for
it's
the pet.
kind of object reference to a pet
Yeah.
cloud that they have dogs, they have
Right.
cats.
So
they
the
have-
real best way to look at it is interface are certain buttons are play and be friendly.
Yeah.
And it points to whoever is a pet. A cat
Yeah.
could be a pet, a dog
Yeah.
could be a pet. So over here, this pet list only has these two methods. Because that's the only thing that's on those in that interface.
Yes.
Is these two.
Yes.
So they're pointing to a dog which has really more buttons, but it doesn't have those buttons. Because all it knows is the pet part.
Yeah.
Okay. So review this chapter, and this is
Yeah, I
where
have to finish. I have to know all the chapter, like really, let's say. So we finish it. So what's going on? So we have to learn first of all.
So here's the homework.
So email it to me. So you.
Now, see right now, therefore it's very simple. I want remember.